What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports MLB Swing for the Fences show. We have a 12-game MLB slate, absolutely loaded. Good pitching, good hitting, and we brought out the big dogs today, real big dogs. We got AP, we got Big T here to break down the slate. I'll go to you first, AP. How's it going? Some overall thoughts here on this big baseball slate.
Yeah, coming off a pretty good night. I think a lot of us were kind of on the Mets and ended up getting it done. And then obviously those big Toronto bats. How about the weather yesterday? How crazy was all of that? Everyone was sweating that game. Like I didn't understand it, especially the guys in chat. People are retweeting stuff from like a guy with like one follower. And oh man, it's just, come on, peak chat last night. I mean, it goes to show that sometimes you got to stay out of there in Discord, but it was a good night, big slate tonight. And I don't know, I feel like I have a few spots that you guys are going to like, and then a few takes that you guys are probably going to make fun of me for. So it should be a good show.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's loaded slate, 12 games. Does not look like much weather. I believe there's one spot, the Cubs and Orioles, but I think it ends up being fine. I mean, nothing like last night. That was a disaster from weather standpoint. As I said in the opening, we got the big dogs, and there's no dog bigger than Mr. Big T himself. What's going on, my man?
Yeah, I was talking about the weather yesterday. I took a hard stand on the two Cincy games, didn't play Cincy, lived here. I mean, I was literally at my kids' practice, and it was 5 minutes from the stadium, full-blown monsoon. I just was not going to play it. And if you played the Reds, you ended up in good shape taking that gamble. But, I mean, I really didn't like the gamble. It's kind of being results-oriented too, I think. But, man, I was close to the stadium, and the weather was horrendous. So I dodged that and faded the Cleveland game. But, AP, I was one of the guys that AP was talking. I was definitely a little nervous with Kansas City, Toronto, because I got off to a pretty good start with my teams, and I had all Toronto. So I didn't think the weather was going to be – I think that's why I was nervous, because I didn't think the weather was going to be any issue. It was one of those spots that never crossed my mind. Like, I wasn't expecting a delay, wasn't expecting anything. And then when I saw it get delayed for nothing, I was having flashbacks for those Washington games in the past years where I was definitely a little nervous. I wasn't in the chat tilting with the donkeys in there, but deep down, I'll admit it, I was slightly nervous that I was going to get, because I played a little bigger yesterday too. They had a 2K on FanDuel and then the normal ones on DK. I was definitely fearing getting that donut back. I'll be honest.
Well, I'm glad you're able to back up Uncle T's weather report, because during the show yesterday, Uncle T was in the chat, and he gave us a very similar report from Cincinnati area. He said no chance he's playing bats there. He said the storm was coming in, and he was taking cover for the evening. So glad you're able to back that up. Hopefully we got Uncle T out of the basement. Yeah, I mean, it's a big boy slate tonight. And like I said, I don't think we have the weather concerns that we did yesterday. It was just really weird because we had the 6 games, those 2 early ones obviously had the weather, and then out of nowhere you get the Toronto KC game kind of.
Was there like talk about that? Because I obviously wasn't in the loop with the weather, but I didn't even know it was like a concern outside of just like normal.
It wasn't a talking point yesterday, like at all. Like there was no, I mean, I guess you could make the case, during the summer that anything could pop up, but there was no like forecast that said, hey, it's gonna, get hit during the game. So yeah, just a weird situation for sure. But the Blue Jays obviously, what they score like 7 or 8 runs yesterday. Let's see the final.
Oh, that was another thing too. So Daniel Lynch, I mean, he got off to a lucky start, pitched, I think 3 scoreless innings. He was serving them right up over the plate. They were just like waiting to be absolutely pounded. Toronto got there, I mean, we just got to wait sometimes, you got to wait it out. That second rotation, second time around, it's usually a lot better, especially against a pitcher like Daniel Lynch. But the other thing too, like the weather here kind of in the Midwest, we have another system. Now I'm 3 hours away from Kansas City, so it's not like relevant, but our whole area, they've been like sending weather warnings and stuff. So we've had a lot of random pop-ups. So keep an eye on it up to the game. I would not be surprised if like it was, if there were some weather concerns, but they're all pop-ups. They're all small storms. Like I feel like they're going to get these games in no matter, unless it's like really, really bad.
I don't ever like worry about the normal stuff. Like I get more worried yesterday when there's no rain, hardly any cloud cover even. Like some of those pictures were crazy. Like the field was sunny even. That's where I get more nervous, just because it feels like they're trying to postpone it almost in a way. But like you said, there's no reason to tilt it anyways. Those guys were 40% owned. I had like 100%, but you can't control it once it locks. You just got to bend over it and hope that it works in your favor.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, luckily, like I said, tonight it does not look like much. The only game that looks somewhat dicey, the Cubs and Orioles, but I think it's just scattered things and they eventually, get it in. So if anything changes on that front, we'll definitely keep you guys updated. We got a lot of games, so we'll just go ahead and hop right into it. Talk pitchers here first, and then kind of go game by game and give some thoughts. Pretty loaded pitcher slate, especially at the top. We have some big dogs up there. You have Verlander at home against Seattle at 10-6. Rodon at home against Colorado, who always struggles on the road, and now they're going to the most pitcher-friendly ballpark. You got Kyle Wright facing off with Oakland, and then Skubal, a guy that we've been playing over here at RPS, and the results have been very solid. I know a lot of our guys are back on him today. I'm going to go to you first, AP. Talk to me about this upper tier. We'll go 8K and above, Cole Irvin, all the way up to Verlander. What are your thoughts in this upper tier on DraftKings?
Yeah, so, normally, most of the times I do like to trust the projections here at pitching. And I like where they're at today, but I really struggle with this top range, specifically Verlander and Rodon. Guys I've typically liked, but man, like when you look at the numbers and when you just look at the outings that they've had, they're not putting up like the numbers, in my opinion, to justify their price tag, especially on a massive slate like this. So I'm going to be probably moving off of them. Like I prefer a guy like Kyle Wright in favor of a Rodon and Verlander. I haven't looked much at ownership projections, so I don't know if that's going to be a contrarian take or not. I just know that Verlander and Rodon are going to get ownership fast. Yeah, they throw a ton of strikes, and that strikeout ability obviously is what gives them a nice floor, which is what's going to pop in projections. So for me up top, I find myself getting, a little bit different with going with Kyle Wright. I'm not going to be on Manoah. Kansas City, like, God, they've done not like I actually like wouldn't talk anyone off of playing them. Like they've been terrible, but they have been striking out a lot. And so I don't know, 10K for him. I feel like when I've looked at pitching on the slate, there's a lot of options down low in the value range that I can easily put over a guy like him. I do have interest in Skubal. Man, he's looked good. I just early on when I was looking at weather, I saw that there's maybe some possible weather issues there. But again, one thing I've learned like this season, I don't even look at the weather stuff. I go through my process. I do my research, look at all the games. That way I don't get lazy and just cross off a game, because I've done that a few times too, and it absolutely punishes me. So I'll check the weather later. But Skubal, man, I haven't pulled up the playbook yet, but I know that's Stevie's boy, so I'm sure he's ranked very highly on the playbook. But as far as upper tier goes, I got to go Kyle Wright and Skubal are going to be the guys that I'm looking at.
Yeah, Boynton definitely has his pants off with Skubal on the mound today. There's no doubt about that. He loves himself some Skubal, and rightfully so. The dude's been good. Big T, toss it over to you. Talk to me about this upper tier on DraftKings.
Yeah, it looks loaded at the top. And some of these days recently, we've had some of the top guys in tougher matchups. Tonight, we get the big dogs in what I consider very easy matchups. Rodon, big ballpark at home, Colorado, big downshift, massive, massive upside. Last time in this same matchup, 12 Ks, just checks all the boxes for me. So love him. Skubal, same thing. Pittsburgh, one of the worst teams in baseball, one of the worst hitting teams in baseball, one of the best parks in baseball. So you got those two guys in basically nut spots, nut park, nut matchup. They check all the boxes. So I'm going to love those guys. Kyle Wright, same thing. I wish the game was in Oakland. If Kyle Wright was in Oakland, I would put him on the same bracket as Skubal and Rodon, because same price. Atlanta's ballpark, much better for hitting, though. As everyone knows that watches my baseball stuff, I weigh the parks probably more than almost anyone. And I don't know. I can't put Kyle Wright in that same bracket. I think he's super talented, though, and he's going against an Oakland offense that sucks. So, yeah, I'm going to play some Kyle Wright. I just have to put him behind the other three, though, just based on the park. And, I mean, similar matchups, so you got to have tiebreakers. My tiebreaker for sure is just going to be the parks and the matchups there. So Verlander, though, he's kind of the one with a slightly tougher matchup against Seattle, who's been hitting pretty good all season. But Verlander, I would consider probably the most talented right now. I mean, he's a little older now, but he's been awesome this year. Looks as strong as ever. Park isn't great. Matchup isn't quite as good, so I'd still put Rodon and Skubal above him. But I'd put him above Kyle Wright just by a hair. But all four of these guys, great matchups at the top. And honestly, I like all four, but I'd go Rodon, Skubal, Verlander, Wright would be my rankings. And then you can get a guy like Manoah even at 10K, another super talented guy versus a Royals team that I don't love. I mean, they just got completely mowed down yesterday. And I don't know, they don't strike out a ton. They're just a pesky lineup. So I definitely wouldn't put him above the other four, but he's also going to be very low owned compared to the other four, which in baseball gives you a little bit of value when you can get a guy lower owned. So I think the top range is awesome today, though. You really can't go too wrong with these guys. I think a bunch of them crush. And like Hoop said, starting it out, pitching's loaded. You're going to see some big games tonight. Last night, we couldn't really find that much pitching-wise, although Waka ended up going off. A couple guys did well. Going into this slate, though, we didn't feel, at least I didn't feel super confident. Tonight, I feel super confident we're going to have 2 or 3 guys in the 30s.
Yeah. Last 2 matchups against Seattle have not been great for Verlander. I mean, 2 starts ago, his worst start of the season was against Seattle. He gave up the 6 earned runs. And then earlier on in the year, just a ho-hum, 6 2/3, only 3 strikeouts, got 18 fantasy points. So they've fared pretty well against Verlander. So maybe that's like a tiebreaker, but I mean, certainly still in play just because of how safe he's been overall this season. Going down to the lower range, there's sometimes we like going down here, sometimes we don't. I'm not seeing a ton. I mean, there are a few names that I personally have interest in coming down here. This Whitlock dude for Boston, I think is interesting going against the Angels, who have been struggling at the plate, just fired their manager today. And I mean, how the hell does Joe Madden continue just to get coaching jobs? The dude is such a donkey. I mean, it makes literally no sense. But their offense has been struggling. Whitlock has shown some upside. And then this Springs guy for Tampa Bay at 6.3K, been playing a lot of him. 3 straight really good starts, has gone at least 5 innings in 3 straight, 7 strikeouts, 6 strikeouts. 7 strikeouts, and has been over 17 fantasy points in all 3 of those starts. Really like him. And then I don't know if I'm going to do it yet. I'm playing about 15 teams tonight, but Marquez is 5.3K pitching in that pitcher's ballpark. He has not been great this season. The matchup against some of these lefties that the Giants will roll out does scare me a little bit, but man, if I get everything I want on offense and I need a guy like Marquez, I could potentially click the name. Not committing to it at this point, but I might do it. I'll stick with you, Big T. Talk to me about this lower range here on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, Springs is the guy that sticks out for me for sure. He's been good, and we get the nice park. We get a decent matchup versus St. Louis too, where I'm not all that worried about that matchup. I do like St. Louis slightly more against left-handed pitching, but I just think this Springs is pretty good and love the park. So 6,300, that would be my cheap guy. I see Marquez, man, he's been so bad. I agree basically with what Hoop said, though. Like, if you had the perfect team, maybe I could gamble on him just because of the park. But, man, San Fran's offense, I feel like they just always get things going, too, and they're just a gritty team. So I don't want to go there unless I have to. Whitlock, I was going to like Whitlock, but then they fired Madden, and I always worry about a little bit of a rejuvenation when they get rid of that old head manager, bring in a new guy. Maybe the reins come off a little bit. Guys can play a little looser. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't mean anything. I'm a field player, though. I worry a little bit more about the Angels tonight now in that matchup than I would have. 12-game losing streak, or however many they've lost now in a row. They've been slumping offensively. Fire a manager, though. I don't know. Maybe they find some bats one night, so I doubt I go there. I mean, really just springs. These are the slates, though, where I've been just trying to get better, where not overcomplicating it. Just play two of the guys that I know are going to do good and just make the bats work. If that means I have to go from a stud bat down to a punt at one or two positions, I just have been doing it and just taking the comfort of playing like Scooball and Rodon together. And yeah, they're chalky, but you know what? When they both get 30 tonight, you're not going to need much offense to get to where you need to be. Whereas if you go one high, one low, which most people will do, play a stud and go down and play one cheap guy. When the cheap guy gets you like 6, I mean, you're down 2 home runs to the teams that played the studs, and your scrub guys can still hit home. Like, people don't get that about baseball. One game sample, it doesn't matter. These bats, these cheapies can just as likely hit bombs as the studs. Whereas the pitchers, that's not necessarily the case in these nut matchups. So for me, I still prefer the top, but it would be Springs. And the one like random game that we didn't talk about either side, but the Mets, San Diego, you versus Taijuan Walker, Phil Cuzzy's the ump. You got a good pitcher's park. That's like an interesting game for me to play both pitchers and just hope it's like a 1-0 game. And I think it might be a 1-0 game. Even though the Mets have been hot, San Diego's got a decent offense. These two pitchers are solid. They're solid arms and a good pitching park. Another spot, too, where you're not going to get any ownership there. So I can play both pitchers in that game. And it even looks like it's somewhat colder weather in San Diego, too, in the 60s, just nice. The ball's not going to travel in San Diego today. So that's just kind of my random off-the-wall kind of parlay together, Walker and you, Darvish, on the same team.
Yeah, Darvish kind of lands in a tier of his own. You know, he's a little bit, cheaper than those top end guys, and a little more expensive than these cheaper guys. I like that call on Darvish. We kind of, I guess, glanced over him in that upper tier, but definitely an interesting play. Before I toss it over to AP, a few housekeeping items. I guess, like I said in the opening, we got the big dogs in the show. So in terms of the likes, we need a big number. 535 watching. We got to be over 3 bills, guys. 3 spins, as Big T likes to say. We got to be over 3 spins, or we're just going to be signing out at the end of the show. If you are not a member, you can sign up at Run Pure Sports. We have the promo code RPS Heater 25, gets you access to all the content on our website, which includes all sports under the same pricing umbrella, like we always talk about. Gets you MLB content. We got the NBA final stuff coming up. I believe that game is tomorrow. UFC pay-per-view card. We got PGA starting up tomorrow, the RBC Canadian Open, the US Open next week. So it's a good time to sign up. Check it out at runpuresports.com. That promo code is RPS Heater 25. I'm going to toss it over to you, AP. Talk to me about some of these cheaper pitching options.
Yeah, so one thing that Big T said that stuck out, and I find myself doing tonight, I talked about that upper tier and how there was a few that I didn't like. I do like some of those double stud builds. I also got a few like double cheapy builds that's kind of interesting, and I don't really like mixing them, kind of like what he said. And when you're doing that, when you're going double cheap on a slate like this, there's a lot of risk to it. But there's a few paths I see tonight to where some big bats, high price bats could absolutely go off. So I'm kind of playing on that, and I'm going to need the salary savings to make it work. So it's all about like the narrative of the build I'm building, but I got to start out with Springs, like you guys mentioned. So one thing about him is this matchup against the Cardinals. Usually when you looked at a lefty going against a team that's right-handed heavy, it's not going to be a good thing, but not the case with him. His best stuff is against right-handed hitters, and the lefties for the Cardinals just, man, they're not good in that lefty-lefty matchup. So actually a pretty nice spot for him. I'm really curious to see what his ownership is going to be. You got to think you got to think the projections are going to like him. Big ballpark, good matchup on paper. There are a few dangerous bats. Goldie, obviously you could get to him. Arenado, another guy that could get to him. But man, outside of that, I like Pujols, O'Neal, these guys. I think he's going to be just fine against them. Throws a lot of fastballs and then throws that changeup that's just really difficult to hit for right-handed hitting. Garrett Whitlock. So, like, I get what Big T's saying. The Royals, they fired their hitting coach earlier in the season, and it didn't help them. Obviously, this Angels team is a lot different than the Royals team. Mike Trout, Ohtani, etc. But still, I'm going right back to it. I was on Waka last night just from a matchup perspective. This Angels team, highest strikeout rate on the slate, approaching 30% as a team right now with this lineup, our projected lineup that I'm looking at. So as long as he gets past Ohtani and Trout, man, I kind of like Whitlock here. I do. So there are some concerns. I mean, against Cincinnati, pitched 6 innings, no strikeout, despite having a good stuff on paper, throws a good fastball, like decent velocity. So just kind of a weird thing that I think you could take either way. You could take that as like a red flag or as a sign that, man, that big game is waiting to come, and it could come here. So I think this one could go either way. I'm definitely going to be playing Whitlock, though, just betting on the matchup. I think you could also run it the other way. You could stack against him, hoping that he just blows up and hoping that this Angels team shows up just, with the whole narrative and everything. The other guy I'm looking at, definitely more of a dusty play, but I like some of the underlying metrics with Kyle Bradish. The xFIP looks good. His strikeout rate looks good. He's just struggled with some bad luck, I think. And I keep going back to that game he had against St. Louis where he put up an absolute beast of a number. So Bradish for me, tournament only, he's 5-1. And it's just, it's just going to take a lot for him to kill me, I think, on this slate, unless the studs just go off. And if my stud hitters, fail me as well. But Kyle Bradish, I don't mind the matchup here. We're going to have to keep an eye on the weather. I think that's going to keep people way off of him too. But man, in tournaments, I think he's a really interesting play. He's shown some good stuff, pretty decent velocity with his fastball. And man, the only bats here, Contreras, obviously a guy I've been playing. I think he's going to get a lot of ownership. Definitely one of the bats that I worry about. Patrick Wisdom as well. Ian Happ maybe a little bit, but everyone else I'm not too worried about in this matchup. And the Orioles, they need some of these younger guys to get it going. So as far as to sum up kind of the cheap pitching range, definitely going to say Springs, my favorite. And then, Whitlock and Bradish are going to be two guys that I'm looking at.
Interesting. All right. That's going to wrap up the pitcher conversation. Before we go in and talk some bats, I wanted to shout out some of our members in the members never win segment, which is obviously a play on words because our members typically crush. First guy up is Lycan 888, took down 25,000 in MLB. Our boy Stevie Boynton took down 36,000 in NBA. And I know Big T had a big night in MLB the night that Boynton hit. What was that number? Like 80K?
Oh yeah, I think 80K that night. It was a good night.
Yeah. So it was nice for the Rumpier family there. Punisher took down 50,000 in
Punisher
MLB.
crushes too. That guy freaking crushes. He's good.
I like the name too. I mean, that's just a strong name, like Punisher. Like I'm gonna punish you. I love that name. Punisher, dude crushes. The next guy crushes sometimes. Hoop 75,000 in MLB. And I do gotta give Big T some credit because it was Sunday. I was freaking hungover and I was building teams and I could not get this team to fit. I knew I wanted a cheap pitcher and I was on the fence with who's the Cleveland guy on Sunday? Freaking
Plesac.
Yes, Plesac. I was on the fence. I was like, you know what? I'll play this guy. I wasn't feeling good about it. And then I saw Big T had him in his core. I jammed it with Plesac. And I think he was like the top scoring pitcher.
He showed for us for sure. He
got the job done at 5K. I think he put up like 26 fantasy points. So Big T pushed me over the edge on Plesac, got the job done for me there. Then our guy C Jacobs, 986, took down $90,000 in PGA. So congratulations to all the winners. One last thing, Simon and myself recorded an Underdog best ball video yesterday. We have a promo going with Underdog. If you go there and use the code RUNPURE, you get a $100 deposit match on that deposit. So watch the video, go over there, draft some teams. They have some massive contests for this upcoming NFL season. Big T, I know you're anxious getting those best ball streets. How many teams are you in? About 50 in so far? 100 drafts under your belt?
You're testing fate, bringing this up with me. You're trying to nudge me into getting Simon mad at me.
Our producer,
I don't want Simon mad at me, so I'm not gonna go down this street.
Yeah. Simon will disconnect any ill words.
You're gonna be down to a 2-man booth soon if I start talking. Simon's gonna be upset with me.
All right, we'll leave it at that. He's laughing, so he's not too bad. All right. Offenses. So let's get into it. First game on the slate. Not a great one offensively. You got the Tigers, you got the Pirates, the total 7, and I don't know, it's probably 2 of the worst offenses in baseball in probably one of the most pitcher-friendly ballparks. Zero interest. Not even G. Risen's boy Torkelson for me today. AP, any interest in bats here?
Oh, I mean, keep it simple. It's a big slate, but definitely not playing anyone against Scooball. I mean, he's looked really good. And then, we're not playing your Detroit Tigers hoop. We'll be off.
Big T, I'll throw it to you, but I don't think there's any reason. I can't imagine Big T's playing any bats here.
Yeah, I just don't ever play this game in a full slate. If it was a small slate, maybe I could get creative, but not on this slate.
Yeah. All right. We'll keep it moving. Go to the next game. We have the Cubs. We have the Orioles. And like we talked about, this is the only game that has some potential weather risk. I do think it's fine for bats. The pitchers could be a little more risky. But I have some interest here offensively, more so on the Cubs side. Bradish has been very volatile, had that really good start early on, but has been a little rough since. So I will have some Cubs. I like the price points on. Let me pull this up. I believe they have a few cheapies like Ian Happ, 3.6K. That kind of stands out. They got this Frank Schwindel, 3.3K. You get a catcher in Contreras at 4.6. Interested in the Cubs here, but on the Orioles side, not all that much interest for me. This Keegan Thompson guy just really hasn't gotten beat up all that bad. Like, he's not great or anything, but has shown the ability to limit the damage. So I'll have some Cubs tonight. No Orioles. Big T, any interest in these offenses?
Yeah, I'll be off. Again, I've been trying to narrow it down even more this year, just playing teams I feel good about. And both these pitchers have been decent enough, and the park hasn't been amazing or anything. Weather concerns, just a slight weather concern too. I'm just not going to play it.
AP, you kind of talked about being on Bradish when we were going through the pitchers. He is very cheap, but it's a situation where you'd potentially consider, playing both sides, or you just kind of off this from an offensive standpoint as well.
Yeah, I mean, so like my only point with Bradish, like it's a multi-entry play only. But if you look at like who he's faced, Boston twice, the Yankees, Cardinals, who he mowed down, a hot Mariners team that we've been playing, and then the Rays. I mean, there hasn't been a single easy matchup there. And when I dived in, it looks like he has some good stuff. It's just he's got to keep it all together. And the problem is like Contreras has been an absolute monster. Wisdom can always go off. So there's a ton of power here. And the weather, it's a good hitting environment if weather doesn't, impact the stadium. But obviously Baltimore made the adjustments there, so it's not as friendly of a hitter's park. But I wouldn't talk anyone off of playing some of those guys. I just don't think I'm going to get there today. And Keegan Thompson, let me pull up his stuff. He's not a guy we're going to play, but doesn't look like a guy that we really want to attack either. So most likely going to be off this game.
All right, very good. Keep it moving. We got the Cardinals. We got the Rays. Low total here, 7.5. Springs is a guy that I'm interested in. Not really going to be on the Cardinals bats here. And then the Rays. I just have not played the Rays much this season, and it's worked out. Their lineup is very watered down at this point in the season. Not much upside. This is, one of those ballparks that Big T likes to talk about where it's very pitcher friendly. And if you typically don't play bats here, more times than not, you're doing all right. So this game is a fade for me. AP, any interest in Cards or Rays bats?
No, there's a lot of points that you both have made, big ballpark, Springs, the matchup here looks good. I mean, maybe like a Goldie one-off or Arenado. I just don't like to do that on slates like this. I like to stack and make sure all of my lineups are correlated. So no, I can't see myself really playing any St. Louis Cardinals. And the Rays, I don't know about you guys. I just haven't played them as much this year, it seems like.
Lineups beat up, man. I mean, it's just
beat up lineup.
Every time I pull up their lineup, it like gets worse. So I don't know if guys are getting injured or what, but it is not a good looking roster there.
I mean, this sounds like it's a massive slate, but we could probably get through this in like the next 10 minutes and then talk about the dusty PGA slate we got this week as well.
That's not a good one either. That's bad. I mean, but there are some top heavy guys. It's a top heavy slate. There's the big names are in it. We'll have our show tonight. Me, AP, Snyder, 8:30 Eastern. Make sure you guys tune in to that. Breaking news though, our weatherman at Rum Pier, Mr. DC, popped up in the chat when we were talking about the Cubs and the Orioles. We're good to go there. He said, weatherman alert, this game is going to be good to go. So DC says it's good to go. We're good to go. Not trying to jinx it like last time where I put DC on the spot. And I think it's two only blemishes all season, but we're bouncing back. He says this game's good to go.
Wasn't he talking up Hunter or Green last night in that Cincy game? Like, I thought he spent a lot of time on that on the Up to Lock show, it seemed like. And I'd already crossed that game off, unfortunately.
I believe so. How many strikeouts did Green end up with? I know he had a big number.
7, I think.
Yeah. Big number.
And he got the complete game shutout because it did get rained out eventually. Yeah. He banked the old 7-inning complete game shutout.
Love it. Any interest in Cards or Rays, Big T?
Yeah, I mean, so the Rays are a team that I love my lefties against bad right-handed pitching and not full stack, but when you got Kiermaier and Phillips 4-6, 3,300 and 3,100, both will be 3% owned. Those are like more of my sneaky mini stack type plays. And I could even put Paredes or however you say that dude's name, 4, 5, 6. That would be – I would not full stack it, though. You don't have enough upside to full stack it, but I do like those three. And A-Raz has actually been heating up, too. He's another guy that's been very hot lately in the one hole. So more of fillers, but I actually like Tampa a little bit more than you guys do.
Just took note. Might have to look at some of these lefties. Are they
fillers? Fillers. Like if you get to your last two spots and you fill it with Kiermaier and Phillips, I freaking love that. Like, especially when we get to chalkier teams as we go, like Atlanta, Yankees, different Houston, like chalkier teams, they fit perfect with them because you get guaranteed low-owned guys with your chalk.
Now, here's my question, because I have not been playing Rays this season like at all. Are they still doing – I know last year they were doing a ton of it, and they might not be able to with the roster they have, but are they still – doing a lot of pinch hitting,
No, these guys will play.
They're just in. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
their lineup's terrible.
Yeah. Last season they were doing a ton of that crap where, playing the hand all game long. So.
Yeah, these guys are – I like where they're hitting because usually when I play them, they're hitting like 7 and 9 when their lineup's at full strength. And that's good. But today we got them in the 4 and 6 hole versus Dakota freaking Hudson. Yeah, the park sucks for home runs, but Kiermaier and Phillips aren't home run guys. They're going to hit it in the gap, get you doubles and triples. And I know people are laughing because they make fun of how I like Phillips, but that's fine. I like when people laugh at my weird plays. I like these guys tonight.
I feel like anytime you mention Kiermaier, he hits a home run. So I'm gonna have to hop on that.
It's always in these spots versus bad right-handed pitching. That's when I'll like them, guaranteed, always.
I made a note. I'm in. I'm not going against Big T at this stage in his career. So I've made that determination, and I'm in on some of these Rays lefties. Next game, we got the A's, we got the Braves, total of 9. Team total for the Braves is, above 5.5. They're going to be one of the more popular teams on the slate. They have a lineup built to smash a guy like Cole Irving, likely to happen tonight, but it's going to come with high ownership. Big T, how are you handling this Braves situation on the slate?
The same way I've been handling it all year. And these spots that look like smash spots, I just keep jamming them, full stacks. Don't worry about the ownership. I mean, look at this lineup. You got guys that I consider just murderers towards left-handed pitching. Swanson, Riley, Acuna. Ozuna's down in the 6 hole. This William Contreras, I mean, I'd play him over, I think it's his brother. I'm pretty sure they're brothers. I'd play him in the 7 hole way over the Cubs guy. I just love him down there in that 7 hole. I mean, this lineup is all. I'm not going to play Matt Olson ever lefty, but the rest of the lineup I'm in on, and I'm going to have tons and tons of Braves tonight because looks like a great spot. Oakland, I'm not going to play them against Kyle Wright. I love Kyle Wright. I will look at Oakland in this series, though. I don't know who's even pitching for Atlanta. Again, I'm not the biggest baseball guy. If they throw a left-handed guy like Fried, if Fried goes against Oakland in Atlanta, I have no idea if he does. I will be on Oakland with the big park upgrade and these right-handed cheap guys like Pender, Seth Brown, Matt Davidson, these cheaper lefty masher type guys. With the big park upgrade out of Oakland to Atlanta, not tonight, but if Fried pitches, I will be on Oakland in this series.
All right, very good. AP, thoughts here on this A's and Braves game?
Yeah, like I know the Braves were a team that like tilted a lot of people, but man, like they've rarely let me down. I think it's only been once this season, so maybe I got lucky there with stacks.
In Coors when they went like back to back, 0 and 1 run somehow.
In between 15, the other two games.
I experienced one of those. I don't know what I'd come up. For some reason, I didn't experience the other one. And then the other times, the tilt, I must have been on like the Yankees or Dodgers when they were hot. Who knows? But man, the Braves have been crushing left-handed pitching, and I'm not worried about Cole Irvin at all. I think it's easy to get different here on this stack too. Contreras, I love, like Big T said. Ozuna seems a little like, man, there's something going on with him. He's getting hits. You're just not seeing the big numbers that you're accustomed to seeing, but he's a guy that always gets ownership. You could probably even play Adam Duvall, who is coming off a few good games and is starting to definitely produce. So I actually like going Swanson, Riley, of course, and Acuna. And then you could go Duvall and Contreras. You get kind of like a little wraparound there, just getting exposure to all the best hitters right now against left-handed pitching. I will be a little like, man, whenever I watch like the Braves, I love how locked in Matt Olson always looks. Like it doesn't matter who he's facing. He just always looks like he's trying harder than everyone else. It doesn't mean the production's going to come. You love that, out of your hitter. So like, I won't rule Matt Olson out. It is a tougher matchup though for him in that lefty spot, but definitely chalk I'm willing to eat. Since it's a 12-game slate though, I don't think it's going to be like chalk that we're accustomed to seeing. Like I don't think these guys are going to get crazy ownership. So I'm definitely in on the Braves and I'm off of the A's.
Yeah, I like the Duvall call. He's a guy that rough season so far.
Yeah, but, 3K. Yeah. I mean, but he's heating up and he's better against lefties too. So is he one of your big platoon splits? Their Big T. I guess I'm not.
Duvall's always been a good lefty. He's been terrible this year until the last 2 games, but he is. I like to see that uptick. I agree with you guys, and I love the build because I don't love Olson. I don't need Albies is fine if he fits on my team. Obviously, I have no issue with him. And Ozuna, I don't necessarily need either. So it just fits the build perfectly. Little cheaper guy. I mean, I'm with you. And Harris, too, down there. Like, the only issue I have is that Acuna, Duvall, Harris, Ozuna, all outfielders, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you guys, especially if you play Riley, Swanson, and Contreras, which maybe you faded. Like, I think the night I shipped last week, I think was Atlanta, and I faded Acuna and played similar build like that. So to where you'd play Swanson, Riley, Contreras, Duvall, Harris, even where you played the 2 cheap outfielders instead of Acuna, which in turn does what? It gets you up to the stud pitchers, which I already see our Discord. They always want to go down and punt 2 pitchers, Gary. Looking at you, Gary, in DC. Like, why do we always want to punt 2 pitchers?
And me tonight.
It's just
I was waiting for it.
Take the freaking. I didn't know. You were talking up some studs. Like,
Oh, I talked to some dusty cheap
we're
guys.
We're overcomplicating pitcher. There's like 4 or 5 studs tonight. 2 or 3 of them are going for 30 plus. And when they go for 30 plus, you guys are drawing dead playing 2 cheap pitchers. I'm just telling you right now.
He's planted his flag. And like I said, I'm over the point of going against Big T. He likes to expect.
Look at these cheap dudes too. They're going 70 pitches, 80. I just don't get it. It's just, I don't think it's necessary. And what are you getting by doing it? Like, what are you getting by playing 2 pitchers that I'm not getting?
I mean, Kyle Bradish went 7 innings against the Cardinals, absolutely mowed them down. I mean, and then had multiple like brutal matchups.
I mean, so Bradish, he's gone for double digits. Like he's gone for 30.
Not a risky one. Like,
but he's going 80 pitches, 62 pitches. Like what are you getting though? What are you adding to your offense that I'm not getting?
That's when he sucked though, right?
But I'm asking, like, what are you getting though? Like for risking him, what is it getting you?
Oh, so let's say, I mean, you take a Bradish so you basically
say you get Acuna, just to use Atlanta for the example. You get Acuna and one other good bat. I play Duvall and another cheap bat, but I get Rodon and you get Bradish. Like, I don't see how that's a plus in the other column.
Unless he hits a homer.
I get you.
If Acuna hits a couple, then you're good.
But
yeah, no, I see what you're saying. I mean,
of course, yeah. If Acuna hits 2 bombs or something, then tough sledding.
Yeah, we'll see. A couple good comments in the chat. Steve Boynton's right. DC's first blemish on his record was it was a Friday night show.
It was priceless.
Yeah, it was a Friday night. It was the Friday night show. Stevie was going to the game, and he's like, "Well, is the Nats game going to play?" DC with full confidence said, "Yeah, you have nothing to worry about. It was his birthday." So Boyd, all right, I'm going to go to the park. And
I forgot he was going to the game too.
It was his birthday. He was going to the game, and then boom, that started the bad trend. Then our boy Punisher's in the chat said, "What's up, fellas? Late to the show, but heard the nice shout out. Off to coach some softball tonight. This is when I crush." And he said Michael Harris was the key to his night, his $50,000 night, I believe. Last
that was the same night I shipped when he shipped, and it was definitely the Harris and Heredia. He didn't have Heredia that night, but Heredia would be the Duvall from tonight.
Talk about peeling to players. I mean, how many times has Gary peeled to this Harris dude? I mean, it has to be a couple times a day for sure.
No, Gary gets butt naked to Braves at least 3 times a day.
Yeah. No doubt. Oh, let's keep her moving here. We got the Yanks, we got the Twins, 8.5 total. Team total for the Yankees right around 5, about 4 for the Twins. I like the Yankees a lot tonight. I think this Cole Sands guy sucks. You get the Yankees in a spot where they get all 9 innings of at-bats. I would mostly focus on the top end guys here, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton. I don't think the ownership's going to be all that high. I'd be fine going down to Gallo batting 9th. But, Yankees I'm interested in. Twins. Man, I'm just kind of over the Twins. I don't even know how they've been playing lately, but I haven't been playing much of them, and I'm fine with them. I'm going to continue to stay off the Twins, but I have a lot of interest here in the Yankees. Big T, any interest here in these offenses?
Yeah, I agree with the Twins. I've tried to make the Twins happen all year, and more times than not, it just hasn't worked out for me. I'm going to keep playing Polanco as a one-off. Tyon struggles against lefties. Kepler looks decent too, but I can't really play that much else. I mean, this lineup looks bad outside of those 2 to me. Even Buxton. I'm waiting for Buxton to heat back up. Really just those 2 from the Minnesota side. And the Yankees are in a good spot. It's just, man, I struggle with this lineup. I think it's more of a mini stack for me too here, just because, God, I look at the bottom. We always talk about teams, how you should like the bottom of the lineup if you want to full stack it. We love the Braves bottom. Man, you look at the bottom, Hicks has been horrendous. This Kiner Falefa, I'm never playing. Trevino, I'm never playing. Gallo's been beyond horrendous. I just have a really hard time outside of the top of the lineup where obviously – I like those guys. So it's more of a mini stack, I think. Usually the Yankees always have upside. Even Gallo and Hicks can string together something at cheaper prices. So I guess I shouldn't totally rule them out because of the prices. I mean, Hicks at 2,700, you pop him in there with some of the bigger guys, it fits. But Man, I don't know. I just don't like it as a full stack. So I think both of these teams more of mini stack filler type plays.
Yeah. Gallo at 3, he did it a homer last game. It's obviously been a downer season, but man, like probably unowned 3.6K. Like
he's going to fit nice with the wraparound too, for sure.
Your double spend.
Probably going to get a 0, but he looks good at the wraparound.
Yeah, I'm in on him for sure. AP thoughts here on Yankees or Twins bats.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how like many innings this Cole Sands guy is going to pitch. I thought he profiled as like a reliever, and you know, they have been giving him the start, a couple starts now. You know, one against Detroit that wasn't good at all, and he's got 2 main pitches too, like an average fastball and a really average slider. So like how I see this panning out, because like I agree with you guys. I think this Yankees lineup is just kind of like strange for me. I think it's just gonna, you know, the production's gonna come via home runs. Probably Aaron Judge, maybe Stanton gets going too. You know, good fastball hitters. So if I were playing the Yankees tonight, definitely going to be targeting the power here. And man, I'm with you guys. Tyon, he's been good. Like I'm not. Yeah, I guess I haven't been playing the Twins, and I just have no reason to go back there. So going to be off the Twins and a little bit of interest in the Yankees power, but honestly, like 6,200 for Judge on this slate, depending on what you want to do at pitching. Like if you want to fit him in there, it's going to be very hard to get 2 high priced pitchers. So it's a really, really kind of tough spot, I think. Mini stack only, but I got a couple other spots that are similar that I think are going to be better tonight.
One more polish too with the Yankees, man. They don't give up runs. So that's another reason not to play Minnesota. This pitching staff has been out of this world. Like they just don't give up runs. Look at like their schedule. There's a reason they win every day. People think it's their offense, which their offense has been hot at times. It's their freaking pitching. Like they just do not get hit. So I think I'm not even the Polanco play for me tonight.
You're not going to pay 5,300 for Max Kepler?
I mean, I was looking at him, and I actually didn't realize it was 5,300 too. Wow,
that's a wild.
I just saw that.
He's a guy that
has he been hot or something?
Forever though, DK just would keep him at like 3,500, and he was like super cheap. Now
that's why we'd always play him. He was always like 3,500.
Now they've reversed it. Maybe they're trying to balance things out. But 5.3, I'm not definitely not.
He has been pretty good, but not 5,300. Not tonight.
Big boy price tag. Next game we have, actually, before we get into that, 643 watching. We still didn't get to 3. We're a little short of 3. So now I'm bumping it to 350. And I'm going to send out another warning that if we don't hit 10,000 subscribers here very soon, the show's going premium. Like that's absolutely absurd that we can't get to that 10,000 number. So fair warning, within the next few weeks, we don't get to 10. We're just going to move this thing over to premium. So hurtful. So 350 on the likes. We need to get to 10,000 subscriptions or the show will be off the free YouTube platform and will be going premium. So that was my not very strong warning to you guys. Got the Blue Jays. We got the Royals 8.5 total. Team total for the Blue Jays over 5. Team total for the AP's Royals sitting at about 3.25. Again, a lot of interest here in the Blue Jays. I like them. I like the fact that you can play some of these guys down in the lineup. The price tags pretty fair overall for these guys. Vlad Guerrero under 5K seems like a good value. Then you got some cheapies here at the bottom. No Royals for me though, but a lot of interest in the Blue Jays. AP, go to you first. Thoughts here in this one.
Yeah, I mean, the Royals are terrible. Brad Keller, one of their starters that they're trying to depend on, who just sucks. I mean, it's nothing looks good. If you're a numbers guy or if you just like are a person that watches them pitch, nothing here looks good at all. And Toronto, a very hot team, not like as hot against right-handed pitching, but I don't think it's going to matter. Vlad very much in play. Kirky in play. Dude's been incredible. Springer obviously in play as well. So yeah, I think you can go right back to a full stack. And I just see Toronto pounding the Royals in this series. I think, a pretty big downgrade with the park here, but it is 82 degrees in Kansas City. I don't think there's much weather risk, but obviously as we get closer to lock, make sure to pay attention to that. And then, there's no way I'm playing any Royals bats against Manoah. So pretty clear cut and dry spot.
Big T, what do you got here in this one?
Yeah, AP knows me too well. I just don't like the park downgrade. I played it yesterday, but that was on like a 5-game slate, basically, or even a four-game slate. I was considering it for the most part. So I just don't want to on a full slate. I don't like this lineup as much as I do love the top, kind of like the Yankees. But man, you put Bradley Zimmer in there, Tapia. I freaking Chapman against a righty.
If I play your Rays lefties, you got to play the bottom of this Blue Jays order for me. These are my dudes down here.
Tapia and Bradley Zimmer.
Tapia treats Hoop well. I'll tell you that much. All right.
That was when he was for the Rockies.
No. This year too. Trust me. These are the guys. These are the dudes. Tapia.
This is one of those spots too. Like they will let Brad Keller pitch. Like they just let him out there because they have no one else. And so don't tilt it early if you do play it, because that third time around is when all the magic could happen for the Blue Jays. And honestly, if you fade him, also it could also be tilting as well. But yeah, it's interesting.
You see this Phil Mickelson picture at his debut
with his mustache?
Yeah, what the hell? He looks like an absolute creep. Oh my. AP, you got to look it up if you haven't seen it yet.
They gave that man $200 million.
He's
loving life right now.
Yeah.
Someone posted in Discord, so I can easily find it.
Yeah, more money for him to gamble away. Great deal. All right, I got the Mariners. We got the Astros. 8.5 total. I believe this has come up, or it's moved in favor of the Astros a little bit because their team total is now basically at 5.5. Team total for the Mariners 3. I'm on the Astros here too. I think this is a lineup where you can do a lot of different things. You can get down to the bottom. Alvarez is a beast. Tucker's a beast. You get a cheap catcher in Jason Castro, cheap outfielder in Siri batting 9th with upside. Pena batting 7th, 4.6K. No one's really going to pay that price tag. The only guy I just refused to play in this lineup, or two guys, is Brantley. I typically don't play, and then Gurriel, I just cannot click that name. 2.7. I don't care how cheap he is. Like, I'm not playing him. We'll go to you, AP or Big T. Thoughts here on the Mariners and Astros.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be another fade for me. I'm not going to be on Houston. I love Jordan and Tucker. Those would be the two I would play. I just haven't liked Bregman that much this year. Altuve has been on fire, so you can always play Altuve. I'm going to go to more of the Braves, so I'm going to be off Houston. I could definitely play Jordan and Tucker, though. I love those two. Yeah, I mean, Gurriel's been terrible. That's why his price is so low. I'm definitely not playing him against a righty. I never really played Castro. I guess Siri, if you were on Houston, I definitely like Siri in those builds. 2,500, I like that. But no, I'm definitely not going to play Seattle. I'm going to be off this game.
Talk about no upside. Here's Gurriel recently. Fantasy points 0.007 0.006 8.0 2.2 3.5 0.77. Wow, what a disaster that guy is. I mean,
those are the people I try to just not play because
ever.
I know you can't be full game line, and the stat people hate when we talk like this. But like, if you look at a dude for a 15, 20 game sample and he doesn't ever hit double digits, like, I don't care what your stats show. I don't care what the price. There still comes a point where you need fantasy points, like Hoops comments in football the one time. When the slate starts, you just need more points than them. If the dude doesn't get you in double digits, I don't care how cheap he is. Like, you got to get something.
Yeah. It's a tough look for him. AP, thoughts here on the Mariners and Astros bats?
Yeah, I mean, this is like going to be like the third or fourth time each of these teams have seen this pitcher this season alone, which is kind of interesting to think about. And Verlander surprisingly has given up a ton of home runs in this matchup. Mariners have obviously a team that we've been targeting, have been hitting good. Julio Rodriguez, just an absolute beast, monster, and hero for us again last night. Cal Relay, guy I was on, their catcher, dude with a ton of power. That's the only thing that has me worried about Verlander here, but he could definitely mow. Like, I think too, like all of these things are just going to reduce Verlander's ownership too. So I might be switching. I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see when we get up to lock, but it's so tough to play any of these bats against him because we know the talent that Verlander has. So Astro side though, I mean, Jordan, Kyle Tucker, tons of interest in those two. Just a nice matchup against Chris Flexen and Altuve. I don't think I can play like a full 5-man Astro stack here. I think I would cap it at a 3-man stack. I'm kind of like you guys. I don't trust a lot of those other bats in this lineup.
Yeah. Gosh, our boy EM2 with just a great tweet. Waterboarding is outdated. Make them read Holka and Vetri's tweets for torture. Yeah. Oh, that is so good. Absolutely love that one. All right, we got the Phillies. We got the Brewers. 8.5 total. Not a ton of interest for me in this one. The two that do stand out, Kyle Schwarber has a great price tag on DraftKings, 4.3K. And then Bryce Harper as well, 5.1K. Very, very fair price tags on both those guys. I could potentially see myself stacking the Phillies maybe, but really it's going to definitely be like Schwarber and Harper, probably more as, 3-man stacks or 2-man little stacks. So AP, go to you. Any interest in Phillies or Brewers bats?
Yeah, it looks like we have limited data on Jason Alexander. It's someone I'm going to have to dive into or listen to the Up to Lock show coming up here after us. But I'm always okay with playing Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber. Those guys just absolutely mash it. And then on the other side of this, I'll probably end up just off of this game. The 12-game slate, getting through this, there's just spots where we move off of. And depending on what the Brewers throw out there, lineup-wise, maybe that could change things for me. But as it stands right now, I really don't like much of them. Tyrone Taylor's been a guy that I've liked. Keston Hiura, I kind of like. So the more I think about it, the more the bottom of this lineup, you could go Renfroe, Taylor, Urias, and Hiura. It's kind of a cheap little bottom of the order stack there against Suarez. Not like a terrible matchup. I don't think I'm going to do it, but if I were to play this game, it would probably be something like that with some high price pitching.
Masserino 305 says Gurriel Dong for sure tonight. Yeah, it's definitely going to happen. I mean, that's the trend going on.
We're testing the fate for sure.
Because... we certainly are, because when you really dig in and start talking shit about somebody, a player.
I don't know if we can jinx him enough though. He's just might be that bad.
Yeah, I think we could do like a 30.
We did get a Matt Carpenter bomb though, so anything's possible.
Yeah, we got it. I mean, the record on the show remains like undefeated, but I really think we could do like a 30-minute segment on Gurriel, and he still would not hit a bomb, but we'll see. Big T, thoughts here on what game we're on? Phillies and Brewers bats.
Yeah, so pulling up my Stevie Boynton handedness chart that he puts up on the Run Pure site. Love to look at it when obviously they make fun of me because I'm big platoon, love the platoons. The Brewers have been just horrendous against left-handed pitching. Suarez has been talented guy. I mean, he hasn't been amazing or anything this year. Philly's been a letdown for the most part, but still decent left-handed pitcher against this lineup. I just think he could mow him down. I'm not going to play any Milwaukee. I mean, you could play Renfroe and Tyrone Taylor for sure. Two lefty masher type guys, 3,900, 3,600. I don't hate that. A lot of the guys we're talking about, though, as we go, are freaking outfielders. It's like every team, our favorite guys are outfielders, which is another reason I kind of like the Braves as your core pieces. You got infielders, you got a catcher, you got perfect blend to go with your other stacks. I like that. Definitely not a full stack on Milwaukee, just those two. And the Phillies, I'm actually stunned at how low like their team total is. It feels like it's a better spot than it is. And Philly's been bad. I guess you do look at their lineup. I mean, their lineup does kind of suck after the top couple guys. And Milwaukee's bullpen's good. So, yeah, you can play Schwarber and Harper whenever you want. But again, two outfielders. You only got 3 outfielder and 4 outfielder on FanDuel. You can only play so many. So you got to pick spots. Every team that we like has outfielders you can play. They're all good. So I think I'll just be off this game for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, outfield is absolutely loaded. I went through and was starting to put in some plays for the cash chart, and like there's just so many potential like value plays in the outfield, and it really is endless. So that's definitely a good point. Next game we have the Dodgers. We have the White Sox 8.5 total here. Mitch White versus Kopech. Probably not coming here for bats. I mean, I've been on the Dodgers almost every single slate this season. Just doesn't seem like the greatest spot. I'll be fading. I don't think either team gets all that much ownership, but this game will be a fade for me. Big T will stick with you. Any interest in Dodgers or White Sox?
These are the spots I've been targeting that are low owned, and they've been coming through all year. The Dodgers are always popular, but sometimes they get in these tricky spots where it's a big slate and they're going against Kopech, who I think is really good. The White Sox bullpen decent behind him. But when you get the Dodgers freaking low owned in a big park upgrade, these are the spots I've been pounding the Dodgers, and tonight's no different. You got these guys. The price tags look good. I mean, Turner and Bellinger are under 4K. Will Smith 41. Besides Eddie Alvarez, I don't even know who that is, but he's 2,100. And I don't care if a dude's 2,100 in the Dodgers lineup. I don't give a shit who he is. That's good enough for me. And on one of the best teams in baseball, salary savings, and he's eligible at second and third base. And then you got obviously the three studs. You can play Mookie, Freddie, Trey Turner. I mean, every single slate. They're as good as anyone in baseball. But I think the Dodgers are very, very sneaky tonight. And these are the spots. A general rule for me, when these really good teams go to a big park upgrade, I play them no matter what the matchup is. And when you get to our next game, really good offenses with a big park downgrade like Boston, I'm never playing Boston at the Angels. I talked crap yesterday, said they were the worst stack. The game was 1-0. I just don't do it. So give me the Dodgers. I'll let everyone else play Boston. I'll take the Dodgers.
Love it. AP, any interest in Dodgers or White Sox bats?
Yeah, Big T is going to need a little undie change after this one because I've had my eye on the Dodgers. So Michael Kopech, when you look at like his numbers, this dude, tons of talent, high velocity pitcher. Historically he's thrown a really mean fastball, 96, 97. That's dipped this year. And I think there's something going on with him. It's been a fairly significant dip if you pull it up on FanGraphs in comparison to in comparison to 21. And so who knows underlying what's going on there, but it's definitely noticeable. I think Toronto picked up on it, absolutely mashed him. And when you go and like look at some of the games he's had, it's just been kind of talent and will that's got him through a game against the Yankees. He just mustered up and got it done. And then he had another like just terrible outing against the Yankees. So I think we could be in line for like a monster game here where the Dodgers just go off on him. Do worry about the bullpen behind him, but man, we're going to get the Dodgers really low on tonight. I love the lefties, especially Freddie Freeman going yard. I think you play Gavin Lux as well. The numbers against lefties, his numbers against lefties have been especially bad. But man, we can stack this lineup in so many different ways and get it low owned and best team in baseball. So Betts, Freeman, Turner, Will Smith, Bellinger, Lux. I mean, those are all the guys I'm looking at.
I'm in. You guys.
The thing about the Dodgers too that I love is I know I keep saying the same stuff, but like when I love the bottom of the lineup, it just makes it so much nicer because you can always play Mookie, Freddie, Trey, like I said. So when you can mix in, like, who don't you like? I like all 9 guys. Sure, some of them, like Eddie Alvarez, probably sucks, but he's 2,100. Who cares? Like, I can play all 9 guys. I love lineups when I can play all 9 because what you can do, plug some guys you love, and then fill the Dodgers in between it.
Yeah, no, it's a very good point. I mean, and a lot of the success I've had this season has been playing the Dodgers for that reason. It's just very easy to build teams around, build stacks around the Dodgers because you have so much flexibility when you're building your teams. I mean, if you don't like a pitcher, you can say, okay, you know what? I'm going to go from Gavin Lux down to this Eddie Alvarez guy. I'm going to upgrade my pitcher, same position, second base. Like, it just gives you so much flexibility. So yeah, definitely like that call.
I mean, like one last comment too, like when you have a guy whose main weapon is just like throwing heaters, when that velocity starts to dip, Mookie Betts, like Freddie Freeman, those guys pick up on it and boom, it's gone. So
Freddie's such a good play at 4,600. Just such a good play.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about all the outfielders, right? I mean, look at all the infielders you can play for the Dodgers. You can fill your whole infield with Dodgers and play outfielders in other spots.
All right, you guys got the 350. Let's push it up to 400. We got about 700 watching, some good momentum on the show. Let's get to 400, and then we'll get to the plays of the day. We'll get to the winners, and we'll get to the top of the leaderboards tonight. We got the Red Sox, we got the Angels, 8.5 total. Red Sox, 4.5. Phil looks rough. Did you see that, man? It is not a good look for Phil.
He looks like a guy at the local bar on like a Friday night that's been drinking since noon.
Yeah, that or like the combination of that and like a child molester or something. It is a rough look for Phil Mickelson. That is for sure. AP, any interest in Boston or Angels bats?
Yeah, maybe a little interest in Boston, but again, like Big T said, bad park. I don't know, against lefties, they've been a little bit better, but we can't play everyone on this slate. I much prefer the Braves. I much prefer the Dodgers and a couple other spots here. So I think I'm going to be off of the Red Sox, and I'm not playing the narrative with the Angels going on. I think I tried that with Kansas City, and it was just stupid. And so while the Angels have a better lineup here, it's still not like their stud lineup or even close to it. So I'm going to be off of them, and I'll have a little bit of Garrett Whitlock tonight.
Big T, has anything changed in the last 3 minutes? Have you reconsidered your stance on the Red Sox, or will you continue to be off of them?
No, I'm going to be off.
Yeah. All right, we got the Mets, we got the Padres, and screw you in the chat. 300 likes, 350, 400. I'll do whatever the fuck I want. I mean, now it could be 450 to get to the plays of the day. Who the hell knows? Like, I'll keep changing it. I'll keep bumping it up. But the other thing, like I said, you guys better get these subscription numbers up, because if we don't hit 10K soon, things are changing in a drastic way. So don't piss me off, please. We got the Mets, we got the Padres, 7.5 total. Definitely a pitcher-friendly ballpark. 2 pitchers that are respectable. Big T talked about it in the pitcher segment. 2 guys that he's potentially on. I'm not seeing it here for any bats. I'm off both offenses. Big T, thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, my stance really hasn't changed. I like the 2 pitchers. My only worry is, man, the Mets have been good. They have been just hitting the baseball. I'm worried, but again, you just can't cover everything in baseball. If you're one of these people that plays 10 stacks and 12 pitchers, you're going to have a hard time over the year. You're going to end up complaining about variance and different stuff. I just can't do it. I mean, the Mets, if you love them, I would have no issue with them taking it. They're going to be low owned. Darvish, we've seen him get popped at times, but I'm just not going to do it on this slate. I am worried, though, just a little, because of how good they've been. Incredible. The Mets have been just awesome.
Yeah. AP, you're on the Mets last night, got the job done. Are you going back tonight?
I mean, it's really tempting, but we've seen Darvish, like show up in some of these spots, and I'm actually really liking the take that Big T had. Just like if you're multi-entering tonight, like playing a game where you're betting on a pitcher's duel, wouldn't surprise me if it happened here. You could also make the case for stacking against Darvish as well with a hot Mets team. I'm probably going to be off hitting here, though. Not playing the Padres. I just haven't been playing them. And, you can always play Manny Machado. I mean, that's always going to be fine. But, I'm probably going to be off this game. Might do a little pitching stack here, just with the Big T's take there.
Yeah, I do like that call. Last game on the slate, we got the Rockies. Got the Giants, and the Giants have a 5-team total tonight, and they, to me, are somewhat interesting. The problem I have with this Giants team is anytime I play them, they just sub these guys in and out so damn much, where a lot of times you end up losing at bat. So that's my one concern with the Giants is, pinch hitting, based on the handedness of the pitcher. So slight hesitation to go in on the Giants for that reason. Haven't decided what I'm going to do. Maybe you guys can convince me one way or the other. AP, what are you doing here with the Giants and Rockies offense?
Yeah, I mean, I always feel like the Giants are low owned too. So I'm going to need some talking into, playing them. I don't play them enough. It seems like a decent spot here. Definitely not playing the Rockies against Rodon. and the lineup doesn't look good at all. I mean, this looks like a spot where Rodon could absolutely shove. So definitely more interested in the high price pitcher here, less interest in the offense. And then the other thing too about the Giants, they're expensive. So it comes down to, do we want to play these guys over the Braves? Do we want to play them over the Dodgers, who are going to be just as low owned, in this spot tonight? So I'm probably going to be off, but could always be talked onto it.
Big T, any thoughts here on the Rockies and Giants offense?
Yeah, I mean, the Giants have been good to me over the years, but I don't know. Tonight, they're coming off a long road trip, too. They were in Miami, they were in Philly, they were in Cincy before that. So basically 10 straight East Coast road games. They did have yesterday off, but that's a long road trip to go back home and have to face the Rockies. Marquez hasn't been great, but maybe that's a little bit more of a peg to play a Marquez team tonight. I think San Fran could have a letdown going back home, and it's in the 50s, which again, this is more of a field take, but colder weather off a road trip. I mean, couldn't you see a 1-0 game here in San Francisco tonight, where I love Rodon? The more I think about it, the more I think Rodon gets like 38 tonight and just punishes people. So I love Rodon.
I might be on you. I might be on you with that take, man.
Like, look at that lineup. The bottom of the lineup's terrible, and the top of the lineup's not much better. They do have a lot of right-handed bats at least, but I don't know, man. I think this game looks 1-0.
Outside of Crone, I mean, there's not much risk there in that lineup. So yeah. 1-0. Are we getting back on Marquez? 5.13.
I mean, I'm not gonna go all in on him, but I might play a flyer, especially on a Rodon team. I might do that more than anyone. For some reason, I like playing the pitchers in the same game, because if you bink like where the weather's a little colder, what do we always call the West Coast thing? What's that called? A jet stream?
Marine layer.
Yeah, the marine layer comes into play. I mean, I like that, where you get them going there. So
our former worker, remember that dude? all he would talk about is the freaking marine layer in Los Angeles.
I'm a believer at some time when this weather gets colder, the ball just literally doesn't travel.
Yeah.
So whether it's the marine layer or whatever, it feels like it works.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, that'll do it. All 12 games. We broke down the pitching. Hope you guys found it useful. Got 387 likes. I said I wanted 4. I'll trust that you guys will get us to that 4 mark. We're going to get into the plays of the day. We're going to start with our guy AP and the gentleman's call of the day. Who do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm going to go Freddie Freeman. Feel like just on the slate in the spot has to come in somewhat lower owned. I think it's a phenomenal spot for him. Very fair price tag. And, we need to reserve some of those spots for that outfield that we talked about.
Absolutely love it. All right, I'll go next with the rich parents play of the day. And I'm going to my Yankees, and it kind of hit me when we were talking through their lineup. Joey Gallo's hitting a bomb tonight, 3.6K, batting ninth. Can't imagine many people are going to be on him. I'm playing myself some Joey Gallo. Love it tonight. So give me some Gallo batting ninth, 3.6K. Big T laughs. I'm assuming that means he doesn't like it.
I like it more than the other team. Who was the other one you told me? My
Tapia, my Blue Jays.
Yeah, the Blue Jays guys. I like Gallo more than Tapia. I'll ride with you with Gallo.
Yeah, Tapia's a man, though. Tapia's going to get it done. I'm telling you. All right, we're going to Big T for the workbench play of the day. Who do you got for us?
Just extreme leverage tonight. I've been excited about this workbench play from before the show, even when I first looked at lineups, because massive leverage on this slate, which I love. Everyone at catcher keeps jamming Wilson Contreras. I'm going to jam his brother at 4,700, 100 more. I think it's his brother. I keep saying it. Someone make fun of me if it's not.
But, it has to be, right?
I mean, it has to be.
They look like the same person.
Yeah, so. I'm sure it is. But if not, someone make fun of me just so I know. 100 more, though, than his brother, and way lower owned, and on the best stack of the night. Lefty, I mean, everything. He checks every box for me. He's going to be on all my teams tonight, more than basically all my teams, maybe not one or something, but definitely my favorite play of the night, William Contreras, not Wilson, William Contreras.
Love it. All right, that is going to do it for the MLB Swing for the Fences show over here at Run Pure Sports. We got our guys coming up next on the premium side, taking you up to lock. Make sure you get on over there and check them out. We'll be back tonight. Myself, AP, Snyder, breaking down the PGA slate, which kicks off Thursday morning. So make sure to check that out as well. But we're going to get on out of here for AP, for Big T. I'm Hoop. Good luck tonight in your contest.